Before this video starts, make sure to like and subscribe for 10 years of good luck. Enjoy! Introduction. Well, basically Epic announced FNCS was gonna be cross-platform this season, which would be very likely be in the whole of 2021 and which made most of the console players really mad. And it's gonna be harder now because most console players can't compete with PC lobbies. And to be honest, the console players that could really compete is the one consistently placing top 10 to 30. Mostly top 10, those are the one who could really give PC players a challenge. If you're placing more like top 100 to 5k, it's gonna be way harder for you got get earnings and place better, so there is basically no hope. Next gen, why you should switch. Pros, you actually get to run 120 FPS, which could compete with PC players, as most PC players run 144 FPS, and you get stable FPS in endgame. Apparently for Series X they can run up to 110 FPS in endgame. Epic also announced that there will be some more console-exclusive tournaments, so if you do get next gen you would be in a really big advantage and be able to place better. If you truly put the time into the grind, it could pay off one day. Also, if you could trio with 2 PC players that can play insanely good, you could really place this season. Also, if you have a good next gen trio. For old gen, as they are running 60 FPS, they are in a really big disadvantage. They can't compete with next gen and PC, so it will be really hard for them to take win fights. And also in their endgame they run up to 30 FPS, so it's really gonna be hard for them to place this FNCS, almost impossible. But if they have decent stats and actually play good for a 60 FPS player, they could actually fine-tune next gen, maybe even PC. And if they can carry their own weight and, like I said, decent, good stats and mechanics, they could place well. Another thing about next gen is that it's really expensive, especially the PS5 and Series X, and not much people have the money for it. But if they do, I suggest they get Digital Edition PS5 or Series S, as the PS5 Digital Edition costs £360 and Series S is around £249 to £250. So if you really wanna save money, I suggest you go for Series S. Next gen could also be in a disadvantage, as they could compete against PC players that runs up to 240 to 360 FPS. And like I said, if you're like a top 100 to 5k guy and like don't have earnings, it's gonna be really hard for you to place. PC, why you should switch. Pros. You'll be able to run really high FPS, which is good for you because in endgame you'll be able to get less lag, less input delay. You can run up to 360 FPS, which is really good, but it depends if you have the money for it. The switch would be really good and worth it, and it could help improve your gameplay more, which is really good, especially if you're a KBM player. So the switch overall is great, and also if you had good stats and consistent good placement when you were on console, maybe even earnings, you could really find a good PC duo, trio, and you could place way better. Also, if you do play in PC lobbies and gets used to them and get better when you return to console, it's gonna legit feel free. Because you have better game sense, you're used to hard lobby, which will help you improve, so when you return to console it's gonna be free. Especially if you play KBM on console, but some controller players are really good, as most of the top 10 in FNCS they came back to console cause it was free money. The bad thing about though is that a PC costs a lot of money, especially if you want a good one, which the price can go up to £1,500, and that is a lot of money. Cons. The top 10 on the leaderboard of PC players legit put hours and hours into the game like they dedicate their life into Fortnite. The majority of them don't even go to school. The lobbies is gonna be way harder, it's nothing compared to console lobby. I know sometime console lobby can be hard, but that's the more point go up the harder it will be. But PC is nothing compared to that, is way harder. They just have overall better mechanics and scroll wheel reset, so it's gonna be really hard to compete with them. If you really want to compete with them, you have to put the hours into the grind, like you have to grind like 8 to 10 hours a day, no joke. If you really want to be up to date, you should, and while you're grinding on those hours, you should actually be learning stuff. You shouldn't just be playing without learning a thing. You actually have to put in the hours. That's the difference, because console played grind mostly like 5 to 7 hours a day, even 4 or 3 as they hang out with friends and stuff. But with PC you have to grind and grind and grind, but it will be a fun experience, and one day it could be payoff. And if you have the time to do all these, I suggest you go for them. It's your choice if you want to go for PC or next gen. For me though, I'm gonna go with next gen for now, since it's cheaper and I could produce better content for you guys, and I will maybe switch to PC. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down some video ideas, and yeah, I'm out. Gang.
死んでいる。